Quest for the Mighty Sword is a 1990 fantasy adventure film from director Joe D'Amato under the name David Hills. The movie opens in the Castle of Ator. A batch of horrible criminals are being executed for their crimes. Prince Ator is watching over the proceedings. Oh good, he brought his son along! Beheadings! Now fun for the whole family! A woman is running. These guys are waiting for the Eyes Wide Shut party. She's still running. More decapitations. More running. And basket is filled to the brim with heads. Doesn't anyone obey the law around here? He tells his wife he saw his death in a dream last night, so he knows he's gonna die today. In walks funny hat guy to say that some of the criminals have to fight Ator. I think I saw this guy open for Manowar. He's given the mighty sword. The sword of the sacred Graal. Wait, what?
He will spare their lives if they can overcome the divine power of the sword of the sacred Graal in combat.
Did he mean to say sacred grail? Ator easily takes out the first prisoner. They let the second one out, and is this silly helmet day? I need a stylish helmet that blocks my peripheral vision. The second guy's a little more of a challenge, but Ator still kills him. Ugh, I'm getting old. Can't they just take the executions and be happy about it? Ator tells his son Ator that the sword must belong to Ator. Just then, a new challenger appears. It's the Plague Doctor from Darkest Dungeon. Okay, it's some guy named Thorn. With that name, he has to be the bad guy. The woman makes it just in time to stop Thorn from killing Ator.
You'll pay for this, Dayanara.
Is that her name or a fancy mayonnaise? Thorn decides to kill him anyway. Why didn't he just move out of the way? The javelin killed Ator, and somehow it also broke the mighty sword. And one of the elders from Nilbog shows up. Dayanara then runs back home. Geez, still killed him. What a waste of time, all this running. She passes out and then is taken prisoner? They tell her, I'll let them explain it.
You will be imprisoned by fire until a mortal arrives who has the strength to break through the flames.
Sometime later, young Ator is now teen Ator. He hears the story about the sword and knows it belongs to him. Unless Ator is a really popular name back then. So he must go on a quest. The quest for the sword of the sacred Graal! I didn't know they had hair crimpers in ye olden times. Meanwhile, in the past, with Prince Ator dead, his wife and son are cast out of the kingdom. Her name's Princess Sun. I'm thinking there was something lost in translation. They find the hobgoblin Grendel.
In that case, why are you afraid? Am I so ugly?
No.
She's gonna need to work on that lying. She's brought on the sword because he's the only one who can reforge it. She also asks Grendel to raise young Ator as his own.
What about the conception? The act of conception has not been carried out, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Oh no. Even the bird thinks this is wrong. Princess Sun makes a deal with Grendel. She asks him to make a potion that'll kill her, and that he watch over Ator until he's 18. In exchange for that, she'll... Oh god. Oh no. Oh, make it stop. Turns out Grendel didn't give her poison, but Spanish fly. So the princess doesn't die, she just goes mad. This makes Ator angry. Ator sees Grendel and knows what he has to do. He has to sashay around in his shirt dress. Are we sure this is our hero? Grendel surprises him by delivering the reforged sword. He tries to kill him, but it's a fake sword. Not cool, Bernie Sanders. Grendel tells him he'll give him the real sword when he turns 18. He's not 18 yet? He sees Dejanay's running around. Isn't she supposed to be in prison?
It wasn't just a trick. I wanted you to see Dayanira in the flesh.
She couldn't just show him a picture? She tells him he's the only mortal that can overcome the divine flames that hold her prisoner. Say! Been working on those legs there, Ator? Grendel leaves the sword for Ator, but it's another trick. He blinds him and then traps him in the cave. Again! This is the hero? After stumbling around like a drunken rock star, he accidentally gets something on his face, which restores his vision. Sure is a good thing he knocked that mirror over. It's shining on... something? He finds where the real sword's hidden, and looks like Grendel never bothered to reforge it. So, Ator can reforge it? A guy with no former forging experience? So really then anyone could have done this? Oh, his poor mother! Grendel arrives back at the cave. Ator comes at him with the sword, but he thinks it's one of his fakes. Well, he certainly got his comeuppance. After this, he changes into, where is all this armor coming from? Sword of Omens. Give me pants. He yells out to the seer, who tells him where to go. Oh great, now he's running. Do we really need an action shot of his crotch? Ator stops in a cave with a bunch of bones, and what the hell is this? He's fighting Siamese twin robots? So these things have killed hundreds of people, and yet are dumber than rocks. Ator splits them in half to discover the real threat is a guy in a rubber suit. Ah, come on! I'd be terrified to be the guy in the suit shooting fire because you know on a D'Amato film they had no safety regulations. Ator slices up old Melody and kills it. He finds the treasure room and proceeds to loot it. Oh, it's the Rockin' Ator theme! He finds another cave. Okay, this is the trap cave. Well, one trap. He finds Deianira, and I thought she was supposed to be on fire or something. He pulls the old Snow White routine to wake her up. Ator! You look exactly like your father! Almost like they didn't want to hire another actor. Her release sets off a wave of stock footage. All hell's breaking loose, but they manage to escape.
I may have lost some of my immortality.
You want to try that line again?
I may have lost some of my immortality.
Hey, you crimp your hair too! We really are made for each other. They head to the Totally Not the Cantina from Star Wars to get some drinks. They watch some people play a game where no one knows what the hell's going on. Ator notices the woman at the table is his mother. She somehow hasn't aged a day. He beats up the guy and rescues his mother. Just then, Grimilda sets her sights on him.
Why did you defend me?
They were hurting you.
It's part of my profession.
Don't humiliate yourself.
I have to repay you for what you did. That's why I came here.
What do you think you're doing?
I have to pay with the only thing I have.
Please.
Oh, yuck, Ma! He tells her who he is, which breaks the curse. With the curse broken, his mother ages and dies. I'm not dead yet. Ah, shut up and burn. More running. Uh-oh, here comes a deadite. They try to make it through the swamp, but get ambushed by Sleestacks wearing garbage bags. Meanwhile, in another movie, they meet up with the guy that Ator saved at the tavern.
After what happened back at the tavern, I wanted to repay you.
Ator thinks it's hilarious.
What a story, Mark.
Back to find the path back to the middle world.
You want to try that line again?
Back to find the path back to the middle world.
These guys, whoever they are, come in to steal Deianira. Apparently, they're Hagen's men. Okay, Hagen is this guy, but Prince Gunter is old Wartsy here. He tells Hagen to prepare for the wedding. Grimilda's the princess, and she says Gunter is under the spell of Hagen, and I have no idea what's going on here. Ator and the other guys sneak into the castle. You know that's not a real cat, right? With the mistreatment of animals in Italian cinema, I'm glad this is a ceramic cat. They rush in, but of course, it's a trap. Oh wait, it's not a trap. They give them some supplies and let them leave. Okay, it was a trap. Deianira then makes a daring escape for about 30 seconds. Oh my, look at that helmet hair.
I'll give you everything I have. I'll even give you my throne. In exchange for a little love.
And thus the first MGTOW is born. Grimilda reveals she's disguised herself as Deianira. She escapes and the two go back to the castle. What does any of this have to do with Ator getting revenge against Thorn? The two get to the roof and oh look, another Star Wars homage. Blatant ripoff. So Ator's been a slave to Grendel his whole life, and somehow he's a master swordsman. Okay, now they're ripping off Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh no, Skjold gets killed. Gunter's trying to dunk Deianira to make her one of his statues, but Ator saves her just in time. Rather than die by Ator, Gunter grabs Hagen and jumps into the plaster. They then play the silly, playful Ator music. Yeah, that's sweet and all, but could you get me out of here before I plunge to my death? Grimilda's sad. Those crazy kids. Then what? That's it? Quest for the Mighty Sword is the fourth film in the Ator series. The first was Ator the Invincible, which was released in the US as Ator the Fighting Eagle. Ator 2 was released in the US as The Blade Master, then re-released years later as Cave Dwellers. Ator 3 was released as Iron Warrior in the US, and Ator 4 was Quest for the Mighty Sword in the US. Notorious low-budget film director Joe D'Amato directed 1 and 2, but he decided to not do 3. The reason being was that Ator was created specifically to be a knockoff of Conan. Ator the Fighting Eagle was released in 1982, right along the release of Conan the Barbarian. Ator 2 The Blade Master was released in the US in February of 1984, a few months before Conan the Destroyer. With no plans for a third Conan movie at the time, D'Amato decided to not make a third Ator. The series was picked up by Italian director Alfonso Brescia, who ignored the first 2 films to more or less reboot the character. D'Amato didn't like this and did his own loose reboot of the series. Ator was played by Miles O'Keefe on 1, 2, and 3, but was played by Eric Allen Kramer in 4. The film goes by a few names. Aside from Quest for the Mighty Sword, it's also sometimes listed as Ator 3, The Hobgoblin, which was a way for D'Amato to disregard Iron Warrior. The Grendel costume was reused from the Claudio Fragasso film Troll 2, so in some regions this was sold as Troll 3. Eric Allen Kramer was 28 when he played the 17-year-old Ator. 3 years after this, he was Little John in Robin Hood Men in Tights. He's done tons of TV over the years, from The Hughleys to Good Luck Charlie. Laura Gemser played Grimilde, and she was also the costume designer for the film. Her career took off in the mid-70s when she became known as Black Emanuelle. She first starred in Black Emanuelle, which was an exploitation spin-off in the 1974 Sylvia Crystal film, Emanuelle. Gemser was also in the first Ator as Indun. The Black Emanuelle series went in some bizarre directions, including her fighting slave traders in Emanuelle and the White Slave Trade, as well as her infiltrating a tribe of cannibals in Emanuelle and the Last Cannibals. Quest for the Mighty Sword is another goofy fantasy exploitation film. It's got a nonsensical plot, bad fight choreography, and lots of stock footage. In other words, it's wonderful. Eric Allen Kramer isn't as good as Miles O'Keefe in the role, but he does lend a certain likable charm to the character. Quest for the Mighty Sword is a film that can best be summed up with this.
Here, right in the middle.
Back to find the path back to the middle world.